published 5:42 Eastern Standard Time, the 23rd of February 2018, updated 16:06 Eastern Standard Time, the 23rd of February 2018. With hopes of a quadruple dashed, it has not been an ideal week for Pep Guardiola's Manchester City. Still, few would expect them to falter again when they line up at Wembley against Arsenal in the Carabao Cup final. But if the Wigan defeat in the FA Cup taught us anything, it is that there are ways to get around the brilliance of this City side. And if Arsene Wenger wants any advice, there are lessons from City's other recent games to be learned. Sportsmail has taken a look at how Arsenal can beat City on Sunday. Arsene Wenger will be hoping to capture the Carabao Cup against Manchester CityWatch Manchester City's win against Leicester and the Sergio Aguero goals will stand out to you. It's hard to ignore a man scoring 4 times. But if you focus too much on Aguero, you can miss the fact that the killer blow to the Foxes' hopes was dealt by Kevin De Bruyne. The hits just keep coming from the pass master. De Bruyne provided the first 3 assists of the game, 2 of them outstanding crosses that seem entirely implausible when the ball first lands at his feet. His first for Raheem Sterling completely bisects the Leicester defense and leaves his teammate with the easiest chance he'll have ever had. Kevin De Bruyne played a stunning cross for Manchester City against Leicester City. He's the most dangerous City player in terms of being able to curve apart a defense. It was just one of a trio of assists De Bruyne provided in brilliant moments against Leicester. Sergio Aguero was the beneficiary for the second cross, tapping in from only yards out. The third assist is a similarly spectacular cross, although he makes it look so simple. Arsenal need to do something that very few other teams in the Premier League have managed to do: stop the midfield magician. That might mean a man-marking job for an extra midfielder. That could mean 2 people tracking him at every point. It might even involve someone employing the dark arts of the game to stop him. Whatever the solution, Arsene Wenger has to find it. If there's one thing he has to get his side to do more than anything else, it is shut down De Bruyne. City will not be as much of a threat without him providing opportunities. It is not just crossing De Bruyne does well. He played a slide rule pass for Aguero here. The only way Arsenal will have any hope of beating City is by shutting down the Belgian. There are some stereotypes when it comes to Pep Guardiola's football. So much of the focus is put on how his teams retain possession, and City manage that brilliantly. The way they do it means teams have to constantly be on. And eventually tiredness sets in and they find a way to exploit it, but the rest of City's game is based on stretching the pitch as much as possible. This forces defenses to widen and creates gaps for City's brilliant passes to exploit. It is why, when combined with tired legs from not having the ball for so long, teams concede so many late goals against the league leaders. City have only been written off in one competition, the FA Cup. It's hard to find a model from the Wigan game that Arsenal can learn from, as City still had a lot of opportunities. What was notable was the way Wigan defended. The image below shows how the Latics regularly had their entire team in a small space on the edge of and inside their own box. Wigan had all of their outfield players in one small area against City. Doing this allows teams to restrict the space that Pep Guardiola's side operate in and therefore quieten them down. While it may seem reductive to let City have the ball so close to your goal, this way of playing means there are not many spaces for them to play into. There's no real room for players to drive into, no gaps for through balls, and very little space to advance into, in case you are found to be offside. City became reliant on crosses, and not the sort of brilliantly accurate ones De Bruyne played against Leicester. Those have less chance of success than a slide rule pass to a player yards out. Wigan have essentially created a smaller pitch on which City are forced to play. That is the opposite of what they want, and if Arsenal can manage the same, it could lead to a frustrating afternoon for Guardiola's boys. City have had a frustrating season at left-back. Benjamin Mendy looked superb before his long-term injury. Fabian Delph has slotted in well after being brilliantly coached by Guardiola, but he is not a natural defender. His sending off against Wigan means the manager will have to turn to another Pep project, Alexander Zinchenko. He is the most maverick positional change Guardiola has tried. Zinchenko, a talented young player who featured at Euro 2016 for Ukraine, is naturally an attacking midfielder. Guardiola has made him into a left-back. But that does not come without its problems. His few cameo appearances during Edel's injury went by with little issue. Alexander Zinchenko is likely to start at left back. It is not his preferred position, and the 21-year-old's inexperience is one thing Arsenal might be able to exploit at Wembley on Sunday with the change against Leicester. Zinchenko struggled against Mark Albrighton and was hooked in the 65th minute for Danilo. Leroy Sané's absence meant Zinchenko had to be used so City could make the pitch as wide as possible on the left. That is less necessarily on Sunday, with Sané fit again, but Zinchenko is still likely to be used ahead of the right-footed Danilo. If Wenger can find the right player to go up against the Ukrainian, he could find joy down the right. There's one thing about City that is both a positive and a curse. They have so much control of the ball and they're so good at winning it back. The problem is when they do not manage that. Leicester found it add to the benefit. City made a handful of mistakes in defense as the Foxes broke. They repeatedly failed.